I've been able to jump a lot of my entrepreneurship peers. There are people that I looked up to when I was first starting out that I jumped within a year. And looking back now, there are people that have been doing this 20 years that I jumped. And it's because... By the way, if you want the system that we're covering in this video as a free checklist, grab the link in the description. You can have a PDF of everything we talked about. How do you become a serial entrepreneur? This is something a lot of people are wondering, and very few people are actually qualified to answer. But I'll tell you now, I run multiple successful businesses. I run a film production studio. I run a marketing agency. We have a very successful consulting business. We do sponsored YouTube content. So that is, I don't even know the number. And we have a real estate empire in the works. It's small right now, but it's still a business that's generating more money than most entrepreneurs make. Most entrepreneurs, in quotes, most entrepreneurs make no money. So even making $1,000, $2,000 a month is a huge win. So if I had to count the number of businesses that I have that make over $1,000 a month, I mean, it's at least half a dozen. At least half a dozen. So how do I do it? How do I become a serial entrepreneur? How do you become a serial entrepreneur? How to become a serial entrepreneur? Here's how. Step one is find out what you're good at. And I know that sounds so stupid, right? For me, I found out I was good at cold email, which is sending emails to people that I've never met and getting them to meet with me and respond to me. So I was doing that and I automated everything else. So find out what you're good at, outsource everything else. Ideally, the thing you're good at is something tied to revenue. Otherwise, you're gonna be in for a world of pain. And I made this mistake too. I went into $20,000 in debt because I tried to outsource my sales when I should have been doing the sales. And I'm frankly thinking back now, I've lost millions and millions of dollars because I made this mistake. Find out what you're good at, and ideally it's something to do with revenue. So maybe I'll change that point. Get good at making money is step one. Tie yourself to something that makes money. My first skill that I got good at was cold email. My second skill that actually took me into serial entrepreneurship after I was already a successful entrepreneur was, or is, business systems. Meaning creating a system where a business can grow and run itself without the owner doing anything. And I would even argue that if you can't master business systems, or at least get to an intermediate level, you're gonna be trapped in your business, you're gonna have a job. Like I was saying before, most entrepreneurs make no money. So if you can just make $1, you enter this world of entrepreneurs. It opens up. And we all talk to each other, we all hang out. Very few of us like each other, I'll say that. What I found is I've been able to jump a lot of my entrepreneurship peers. There are people that I looked up to when I was first starting out that I jumped within a year. And looking back now, there are people that have been doing this 20 years that I jumped. And it's because I got good at business systems versus them getting good at their specific business. That is the biggest difference between a serial entrepreneur and a regular entrepreneur. A regular entrepreneur gets good at their specific business. A serial entrepreneur gets good at business. The system of business. And what that looks like in practice is I hire a person to do this thing. This thing makes $10. I pay them $1. As long as they keep doing this thing consistently, I have unlimited money. And the serial entrepreneur dedicates their life to finding systems like that. We have a system like that for the online course. And actually we're getting right now, I know it'll die in scale, but right now we're getting a 56 times return on our ad spend right now. How are we doing it? It's because the systems are all built and everything's optimized. We rewrite our subject lines. Like we have an entire business system that I've constructed for this specific business. You know how I like to think about it actually is if you've seen the movie WALL-E, I'll explain it anyway, even if you haven't seen it. So WALL-E is this little robot, and he's on Earth, and he's doing all sorts of stuff. He's like picking up trash, and all the humans are gone from Earth. Where are all the humans? Everyone's wondering. I actually think everyone's just like, oh, WALL-E, he's so cute. Look at him. Oh, there's another robot. They're in love. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But only on thinking again did I realize this concept. So at one point in the movie, and I'm going to spoil it, WALL-E goes to this spaceship. I call it an Earthship. I don't know if it's actually called that, but this is the concept I use to describe business. The Earthship concept. Let me share this with you because it is extremely powerful. This ship from WALL-E had a bunch of humans in it. And these humans were living life. And they were living in the system. They were seeing ads. They were eating. They were thriving. They were getting fatter, sure, but they were alive. And that Earthship lasted thousands and thousands of years. The captain didn't know how the system worked. The people on the ship didn't know how the system worked. All they knew was if they followed these few points that were outlined by the founders of the Earthship, the people that left Earth in that original design, if they followed those things step by step, the ship would succeed for thousands of years. Another good example, and I hope this isn't political, another good example of the Earthship concept is actually the United States Constitution. If you see the United States of America, it's actually an example of an amazing business system, an amazing Earthship, because it's lasted 200-300 years now, and it's consistently changed. It's a much better Earthship actually than the one in Wall-E, because it has all of these systems in place, these checks and balances where everyone's looking after each other, right? Who is the owner of the United States of America? Let me ask that. The answer is, the owner is long dead, and yet the country continues to progress. The systems are slowly changed to move with the times. People get civil rights that didn't have them. People get opportunities that didn't have them. The system gets better over time. We have certain presidents that do one thing for half of the country, certain presidents that do one thing for the other half of the country. You know, we're split 50-50, but that is built into the system, and it just continues to increase. If you measure it on any measurement, except for like education and stuff like that, if you measure it on company success, meaning the success of the country, the Constitution is a very good example of this Earthship concept. And that is what separates a serial entrepreneur from a regular entrepreneur. You have to stop thinking about your specific business and start thinking about business at a meta level. How do I build more Earthships? One, how do I turn my current business into an Earthship so that I can take weeks and weeks off? Last week I wrote a movie, an entire movie. I spent every single day writing a movie, and what I found was only one part of the system was breaking down, right? One of all the businesses I run, one piece of one business was the only system that was broken down. And that system was this one person on this one team in this one business was pinging me constantly. So he was removed. And now the Earthship is successful. That's, there's a ruthlessness also to serial entrepreneurship that is honestly necessary at a certain level. People need to do their jobs, and I think there is something to the empathy, there is something to treating people well, but you also can't become too attached to people. And sure, you can move people around within the organization and find the right spot for them. There's another video I'm gonna do on the different types of entrepreneurs that'll go through this. But that is the difference between a regular entrepreneur and a serial entrepreneur, and how you reach the next level. Build Earthships that can run without you, and then let them run for periods of time, measure, fix, let them run again. So for instance, the week before I wrote this movie, I built the systems, or I really the systems were basically in place. I just made sure all the systems were good to go so I could take a full week off to see what would break. Then I took a week off, I saw what broke. Only one little thing broke. I fixed that one little thing. I spent another week just repairing the systems and optimizing them. Now I'm all set to take a month off. Now I could take a year off and nothing would break down. In theory, and what's cool about being a serial entrepreneur is if stuff breaks down, if a business implodes, worst case scenario, one of the 6 businesses implode, I learned. Who really cares? And it's that sort of disconnect that comes when you have multiple businesses, and that allows you to play harder than you otherwise would have. But also that disconnect allows you to fix stuff. I'll go 6 months without working, but the businesses are working for me. Then in those 6 months, I'll be able to post and I'll say, hey, what went wrong over these 6 months? Who is pinging me and who is forcing me to work when I shouldn't be working? Who needs to be hired to fix these systems, right? We can do an entire scientific analysis of how these businesses performed as Earthships over 6 months. And really, first over a week, then over a month, then over 6 months, then over a year, then over a decade, then over 100 years. Coca-Cola is a very good Earthship as well. The founders of Coca-Cola are long dead, and yet the company is trucking along, right? That is what serial entrepreneurs know, and entrepreneurs at the highest level. This concept is something they do that level 1 entrepreneurs do not do. And that's that. Optimize, let it run, optimize again, let it run for longer, optimize again, let it run for longer, start another business, do it again. That's how to become a serial entrepreneur. If you're running a cold email marketing campaign and you're getting under 80% as your open rate, grab this free document. This is 50 subject lines to test. I've sent over 2 million cold emails. We've generated over $100 million in leads. Click the link below. You can have all these subject lines. I'm Berman. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks.